we are still in the purple season of Lent, as we're getting ready for the great mystery of Easter. In the beginning, the baby was born. God chose Mary to be the mother of God. Listen carefully. God chose Mary to be the mother of God. And when the baby looked up into the face of the mother Mary, he could already see the cross. And when he looked up into the face of the father, Joseph, the cross was there too. Now the mother Mary and the father Joseph held the baby close. They kept the baby warm, and they made sure he had everything he needed to grow. And the baby grew into a boy. And when he was about 12 years old, he had an opportunity to go to the great city of Jerusalem to keep some of the high holy days. Jesus went with his mother Mary and his father Joseph and many, many people from their village in Nazareth. Now when the celebrations were over, they left Jerusalem through that high city gate and headed back towards Nazareth. After some time, Mary and Joseph realized that Jesus was not with them. They thought he was back behind them with his friends walking, but he had been left in Jerusalem. So they turned around immediately and went back to search for him. When they got back to Jerusalem, they looked in the dark and narrow alleys. They looked in the marketplace where they got their food. They looked in the place they had spent the night. And finally, they looked in the temple. And there he was. He was speaking with the priests and the rabbis, and they were listening to him because he knew so much. And he was listening to them because he wanted to learn even more. Then the mother Mary and the father Joseph asked their son the question that all parents ask, and no child can answer: why have you done this? But Jesus said, didn't you know I would be in my Father's house? Mary and Joseph didn't understand. Wasn't his father's house back in Nazareth, where Joseph had his carpenter shop? They didn't understand, but they never forgot. And one day they would understand. The boy grew and became a man. And when Jesus was about 30 years old, he went down to the Jordan River. His cousin John was there baptizing people in the river. You can just see the edge of John's hair here. He was a wild man. John saw Jesus, and Jesus said, baptize me. And then it was as if John saw Jesus for the very first time and realized who he was. And he said, you are the Messiah. You should be the one baptizing me. But Jesus said, no, it is written that you would come before me and prepare the way. Baptize me. So John took Jesus down into the dark chaos of the water and lifted him back up into the light. And people who were there that day said that they saw a dove descending down from heaven and landing on Jesus. Others there that day said they heard a voice from heaven saying, this is my son, listen to him. After Jesus was baptized, he kept going across the Jordan River, and he went into the desert. Jesus was in the desert for 40 days and for 40 nights. He went there to learn more about who he was and what his work was going to be. There is very little to eat and very little to drink in the desert. And after some time, a voice came to Jesus and said, "If you truly are the Son of God, just turn those stones into bread." But Jesus said, "People need more than just bread to live." And then the voice took Jesus to the top of the temple, way up on the pinnacle. And the voice said, "If you are truly the Son of God, just jump, and God will send his angels to catch you before you hit your head on a stone." But Jesus said, "No, no. We must not put the Lord God to the test." And then the voice took Jesus high on a mountain where he could see many kingdoms down below. And the voice said, "If you bow down and worship me, I can make you king over all those kingdoms." But Jesus said, "No, I am a king, but not that kind of king." And the voice went away. And angels came and took care of Jesus. And then he went back across the Jordan into the towns and villages. He was ready to begin his work. Jesus went back into the towns and villages to begin his work. But what was his work? The work of Jesus was to come close to people. You can see how close he is to this blind man. He's so close he can touch him. Jesus' work was to come close to people. And when Jesus came close to people, they changed. They could see things they had never seen before, and they could do things they had never done before. They were made well. Jesus' work also was to teach, and he taught using many parables. And finally, the time came for Jesus to become a parable. So he turned towards Jerusalem for the last time. Now, I wonder if there's anything in your home that you could bring down to this part of this story, or maybe even this part of the story, to help us understand it even more. Think about that for a minute. Is there anything in your home that you could help us tell the story with?